Welcome back. In previous videos, I went over the design and construction of the shelving, the inclusion of the vent fan, the light additions that I've made in here. I'm really happy with all of those. This video, I wanted to go over just wrapping up the shelving on one side and then building in this work area so I can start storing my tools and putting things away. Astute viewers might notice it is past the end of August. There's no Mustang here. I've decided to knock out all the big projects before I move the Mustang back. It's going to stay in storage a little bit longer. Still left to go is insulating up above in the attic area and the exterior walls. So just two walls of this garage and the front. But I wanted to tackle those big projects so I'm not working around the car and having to move it as I'm blowing in insulation and all that. It's going to be a lot easier this way. Okay, I am working along. I've got before the shelving up, I'm continuing around here and along this wall with a shelf all the way around this part of the garage. And I got my proof of concept lights here. These will be in addition to the ceiling lights I put in, just kind of nice to have lights all around. So I'm removing all this pegboard. I don't know why they did floor to ceiling pegboard. You're not going to be hanging things from up there, but hidden behind here, I find 20 amp service. That's actually really nice. I know my last garage had 15 amp, and if I turned my welder up too high, I'd be trying to weld in the dark all of a sudden. So that'll be nice to have 20 amp service back here. And I got my laser level just touching the top of this cleat. You can see the red at my fingertip there. The width of the line is maybe a 1/16 of an inch, and honestly, it's a garage shelf. We're not talking about precision here, so as long as it's within the width of that, I am more than happy, and I got it pretty good all the way across, so I'm happy. Okay, making some really good progress. I've got both sides of the shelving up, so I went all the way down on this side. Had to avoid that little jut out there, so the spacing got a little interesting, but no biggie. I still need to brace up the back there, and right now it's just sitting on top there. So I haven't decided exactly how I want to build that out. I think I do want to put some sort of shelving on either side, and if that's the case, that'll be a vertical support down there. So I might even just kind of take that down for now and tackle that later when I tackle the workbench. And I still need to do the little cross bracing pieces. Nothing is ever as easy as it looks like it's going to be. So I'm getting these countertops, I guess, off of these cabinets here, and maybe someone who's done construction before can tell me what's going on here. I try to lift this off, the top of this off, the entire thing comes with it, and it's got to weigh, I don't know, good 50, 60 pounds. Like, is this concrete right here? Okay, looks to me like they built a frame, nailed it down to the cabinet, and then poured concrete in here, and then put plywood on top. I don't get it, but I guess they wanted a heavy counter. All right, I got the workbench area finally clear. This is roughly how things are gonna go. My thought is my two tool chests there, and I'm gonna build it like an enclosure almost, a tall shelf, so I can put the compressor under one side and then wheel table saw and maybe welder on the other, keep things up and out of the way, and then shelves here and here going up on either side. Yeah, it somehow feels more cramped. I'm not even sure how I'm gonna get out of here. I guess I left myself a pathway. I got to figure out what to do with all these cabinets. I don't know if we have bulk pickup here. I might just, they were good cabinets. They're actually solid wood, at least the frames are, but they're so beat up. They've been used as utility cabinets for a while. So who knows, I might salvage the hardware and take the Sawzall to the rest. Okay, made really good progress. I did decide to break down these cabinets. You know, I could try to sell them for 20 bucks or give them away. They're not in great condition. The casings were just kind of really beat up. And then there's, you know, where they tried to find a stud by putting 100 holes in the back. I am going to reuse a bunch of the hardware for drawers that I have planned in the future. And I did save all the kind of oak fascia. We'll see if I wind up using that. I need to be less of a pack rat. So guys, if it's a year, if it's August 2025 and I haven't done anything with that, tell me to throw it away. So next thing I'm going to do is start framing out the actual workbench area. I don't have the top for it. I'm planning MDF for the top, but I'm going to start framing up the sides where I plan to have the compressor and then the table saw or welder we're going to see. And I think I said before, this is just kind of thrown up there. It's sitting up there, just held with a couple of clamps. I'm going to frame on here and across and down so it actually has something to rest against. And then I can start building this area and put things up there as well, get some of this stuff out of the way. Somewhere along the line, I lost probably 1/8 to 3/16 of an inch. These, I'm pretty sure I made all level to themselves, and these I made all level. I thought I had aligned the start of this shelf with the start of this shelf. I don't know where I messed up, but you know, again, we're talking garage shelves, not precision machinery. So I'm okay with that. We're just going to have a slight slope on that shelf. You know, if I didn't point it out, you never would have known. So this is roughly how I think things are going to look. Pretend none of that stuff is on those. I think I'm going to put the shelf right about here, a good standing workbench height, and then drawers underneath it above the rolling cabinets. Then you can see the compressors tucked away nice and neat here. I'll put a shelf over it and probably another shelf here. I can put tools that go in cases and random things on those. And similarly, I'll do probably the same height on this side, a shelf and another shelf. And then I've got other shelving material, kind of not as deep, and I might do 1 or 2 here, just to, you know, there's tons of stuff. Stuff needs places, and that's why we're building all this. So I wanted to determine a good height for this workbench. I'm going to be standing at it whenever I use it. I don't think I'll ever have a chair seated here, maybe a bar stool or something. You look online, people say between 36 and 39 inches. I'm 6 foot nothing, so I'm not overly tall, but I kind of want it a little on the higher side. So I'm starting at 40 inches. I've just is overkill. I've got my my pipe stands with a piece of scrap wood, and I'm going to do a menial task. I'm just going to sort screws or look through these new saw blades I got just to get a feel for the height of it. So I'm going to try at 40 and then probably drop it down. I don't think I want to go any higher than 40. Drop it down to 39, see if that feels more or less comfortable, and play around with it a little bit. So it did occur to me that I'm going to have my vise up here, and I'm potentially going to want to be using tools on whatever it's holding. I'm going to use the drill. 40 inches was more comfortable if I'm doing things at surface level, but it's a little too high up, like if I need to use my drill on something I'm holding in the vise, for example. So this is at 39. That was a lot more comfortable. I think this is where I'm going to put it. These pipe stands sure are handy. I've got my laser level 3/4 of an inch beneath my mark. I'm using 3/4 inch MDF for the workbench top, so this is the level the bottom of that MDF is going to sit. Well, I hope that's where I want it because the cleat is in and secure. Just like building the shelves, it's the exact same design with the lags going into each stud. It's nice. I got five studs all the way across on this one. It did, just because of the way the wood curved, it did go up just ever so slightly on that end. So what I'll do is just take a little bit of a plane and just take off. It's less than a 16th, just to make sure it's nice and flat at the back. Okay, I've got the main area, or the area for the main workbench, framed up. This is roughly 6 feet wide. I'm looking at this. I don't know about bracing in the middle. So either I'm going to build something straight across and sacrifice the shelf area or the drawer area, or I'm going to use some kind of bracing in the middle. I tested it with my rolling cabinet. I can't do a 45 brace, kind of like what I did here on the shelves, without interfering with how the cabinet rolls. I suppose it's possible I could put them on 4-wheel swivel casters. That's actually not a bad idea. Then I could just pull it straight out instead of having to maneuver it like this. Let me think about that. For now, what I'm going to do is cut my piece of MDF. I've got it laid out, all ready to go here. So I'm going to cut that to size and fit it up here, and then explore some options with bracing. So I absolutely love building things with MDF. It works really well. It's super dense, it's nice and straight usually, and it makes a great workbench. There's a few downsides. It does not hold fasteners very well. The other thing is, when you work it, it doesn't make sawdust, it makes saw powder, and I'm not really interested in breathing that in. So I'm going to go with my respirator while I'm doing this, just to avoid it. Okay, there's the second test fit. I am pretty happy. I put clamps just at the back corners, just to hold it flat against the cleat back there. Under its own weight, it looks like we're sagging about 1/8 of an inch. I'm gonna put something heavy on here. Maybe not so heavy, but heavy enough on here just to see. Nah, that's way too much free play. That doesn't make me happy. I'll figure out some kind of support here. And if that means putting swivel wheels on both of these carts, that's actually not a terrible idea. Okay, this is actually pretty funny. I had gotten a while back these casters. I was considering using these for a couple different projects. One of them was a body cart for the Mustang, and I still might end up doing that. We'll see. That being said, now I've got these large casters that I don't necessarily have an immediate use for, and they're almost exactly the right height. That being said, I might... these casters that are on these are plastic. They're already getting chewed up. So it's actually not a bad idea to replace them anyway. So what I might do is put a pin in that for now. I can revisit that another time. And if I'm, having to wiggle a cart in and out of here, or 2 carts in and out of here kind of awkwardly for a while, that's not a big deal. But all of that said, I'm looking around for one of the legs that I cut for the, here we go, for the shelving. I had plans of doing other shelving or more shelving, and turns out, and I still might, but I've got these 45 legs, identical to what I used up there. That piece of tape is where the stud is. So if I put a brace here, and I could use this or another piece of wood, I should be able to put a nice brace in there, and that's only going to be about 3 foot of span on either side before you're held up by something. And I think that actually is going to work really well. Okay, this is probably overkill, but I went ahead and just kind of took a rasp in anywhere where the wood was twisted, and I didn't see the line from the laser level splitting both front and back. This will be hard to see, but you can see it touching both front and back. So I wanted it as close to level and flat as possible. Again, it's a workbench. It's not a fine china cabinet, so I'm not freaking out about it, but I just wanted to get it close. Okay, there is the main workbench installed. As I said, I'm going to figure out a center support for this later and what that looks like. I just wanted it attached so I can use it as a surface. Obviously, I'm not going to be sitting on this or putting anything too heavy on it right now. I did take the time to pre-drill and countersink these holes. You wind up with a really nice finish, and I'll just go along lightly with the sander and anywhere it pushed up the wood, just so it gives it a nice flat finished look to it. Guys, I'm really happy. This is turning out really well. I still need to build my little side shelves over here as well, over the compressor. But man, it looks so happy, just parked in its own little home. Guys, I am very happy with the progress. The best thing about building shelves is you can immediately start using them as soon as they're in place. So I already started moving things I've been tripping over for a few weeks up and out of the way. The compressor's in its happy little cubby hole there. My two work drawer bench things, whatever we're calling these, the tool cabinets are tucked away over there. We will see if I can get my table saw in here. I think the table saw might need to live elsewhere. We'll see. Maybe that's where my pipe stands and jack stands and all sorts of the engine stand and pieces can go in that little area. But we've already started to claim a good chunk of this garage space, and now we just got to deal with this. Okay, if you are still with me, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. I am getting all these big projects to a state where I can get things out of the way and move the Mustang in and get it back in the shop. I can do things like build other smaller shelving on either side later. I can work around the car pretty easily, but it would be really tough to do things like build this workbench or complete the shelving with the car here. So I'm going to press forward. Next up is going to be insulating the attic, both the area above the attic and the walls that are exterior. And I do have a paint sprayer. I'm going to finish all the drywall. There's areas where they made hundreds of holes trying to find studs unsuccessfully. So I'm going to do some patchwork on the drywall in here, get everything ready. Yeah, there's a nice big hole there. Anyway, get everything ready, patch up the drywall, and just paint everything the same white that the rest of the garage is, just a basic white, mostly for aesthetics and protection of the drywall. Plus, it'll brighten things up in here a little bit.